My name is Clara Evans, and if there's one thing I've learned about love, it's that sometimes it finds you when you least expect it, and sometimes it destroys you the moment you believe it's real. It all started on a rainy afternoon in London, 2 years ago. I was sitting by the window of a small cafe called Eden's Corner, trying to finish a painting for an upcoming exhibition. The smell of roasted coffee beans mixed with the soft hum of jazz in the background made everything feel peaceful until he walked in. He looked like the kind of man who didn't belong to rainy afternoons. Tall, well-dressed, confident, with a quiet sadness in his eyes that drew me in. He ordered black coffee and sat at the table next to mine. I noticed the way he kept staring outside, like the world beyond the glass reminded him of something or someone he missed. Our eyes met for the first time when he dropped his pen. I picked it up before he could, and when our fingers brushed, something strange sparked inside me. It wasn't love, at least not yet, but it was something warm, something I hadn't felt in a long time. "Thank you," he said with a gentle smile. "I'm Daniel." "Clara," I replied, smiling back. That was how it began. So simple, so innocent. Over the next few weeks, Daniel became a regular at the cafe. Sometimes he'd bring his laptop and work quietly across from me. Other times, he'd just sit and talk. We spoke about everything: art, music, travel, our dreams. He told me he was a writer, working on a novel about second chances. I told him I didn't believe in second chances. He laughed softly. "Then maybe you just haven't had a reason to." I didn't realize it then, but Daniel was becoming my reason. We started spending more time together. Dinners after work, long walks by the Thames, phone calls that lasted until dawn. I told myself not to fall for him. He never spoke much about his past, and though I was curious, I respected his silence. He had a mysterious sadness that made me want to heal him. One evening, as we stood on the bridge watching the sunset, he looked at me and said, "You make me feel alive again, Clara." My heart skipped a beat. He kissed me that night, softly, tenderly, like someone who was afraid of breaking something fragile. And just like that, I was his, completely. For months, we lived in a beautiful illusion. He'd come to my apartment after work, bringing wine and stories from his day. He'd paint dreams with words, talk about traveling to Italy, buying a small house by the sea, writing his book while I painted on the porch. He said he wanted forever, and I believed him, but forever was a lie. It happened on a cold December morning. I woke up to find his side of the bed empty, his phone buzzing on the nightstand. I never meant to look, but the screen lit up with a message that froze my blood. "Don't forget Lily's recital at 4. She's been asking for you all week. Love you." At first, I thought it was a mistake, maybe a wrong number, but curiosity, fear, really pushed me to open his contact list. That's when I saw it. Emma. I opened their chat. Photos, messages, wedding pictures, a family vacation, a woman, a little girl with Daniel's eyes. I couldn't breathe. My hands trembled. My world collapsed in an instant. I called him once, twice, but he didn't answer. I sat there for hours, shaking, replaying every moment in my head, every lie wrapped in tenderness, every promise he never meant to keep. He came that evening, smiling as if nothing had happened. "Clara, you won't believe the day I've had." "Who's Emma?" I interrupted, my voice barely a whisper. His smile faded. His eyes darkened with guilt. He didn't even try to lie. "Clara," he said quietly, "please just let me explain." I felt the tears burn behind my eyes. "Explain what?" "That you've been married this whole time. That I've been loving someone who belongs to someone else." He reached for me, but I stepped back. "I never meant to hurt you," he said, his voice breaking. "Emma and we've been distant for years. It's complicated." "Complicated?" I laughed bitterly. "You have a daughter, Daniel. You have a family." He lowered his head, ashamed. "I didn't plan for this. I didn't plan for you." That was the worst part. He meant it. I could see it in his eyes. He did love me, in his own broken way. But love built on lies can never last. That night, I told him to leave. He begged me to listen, to understand, but I couldn't. I didn't want to be the woman who broke another woman's home. I didn't want to be someone's secret anymore. When the door closed behind him, I collapsed to the floor and cried until there were no tears left. The silence afterward was unbearable. For weeks, I couldn't paint. Every color reminded me of him. Every melody reminded me of his laughter. I hated him, but I missed him even more. People talk about heartbreak like it's a clean wound, but it isn't. It's a slow bleed that stains everything it touches. Months passed. I tried to move on. I moved to a new apartment, threw away his letters, blocked his number, but some nights, I still dreamed of him, of the bridge, the cafe, the promises. Then one afternoon, I saw him again. I was at the park, sketching, when I heard a familiar voice. I turned, and there he was, walking hand in hand with a little girl. His daughter. He looked older, tired, but when our eyes met, there was that same sadness. He smiled faintly, a silent apology in his gaze. I smiled back, just a little, and that was enough. Because in that moment, I realized something. Sometimes love isn't meant to last. Sometimes it's just meant to teach you what your heart deserves. I didn't know he was married. But I do know now that loving him wasn't my mistake. Staying blind to the truth would have been. That day, I walked away with tears in my eyes but peace in my heart. I went home and painted again. For the first time in months, the canvas showed a girl standing in the rain, looking at a sunset through glass, and below it I wrote the words, "Some truths break your heart only to set it free."